Hey guys, welcome back for the special 10th episode of the Your Mother Ate My Dog podcast. He's Jesse, and I'm Josh, and today we decided to leave the comfort of our North American homes and venture out to the South Korean neo-noir action thriller genre for a film that Roger Ebert himself gave 4 to 4 stars. This film also came in as the runner-up for the Palme d'Or at the 2004 Cannes Film Festival. The winner that year, Michael Moore's Fahrenheit 911. You read the title of the podcast. Today we're talking about Oldboy. Spoilers ahead. Jesse, what did we just watch?
We watched a movie.
Yeah, so we watched the movies separately. A little behind the scenes here. I watched this movie 2 days ago. You were saying that you finished watching this movie a mere 15 minutes ago.
Yes, very fresh in my mind.
So the emotions are flowing.
Yeah, you can say that.
So maybe you should start and just see what comes out.
Okay, well, this was quite the film, I must say. There's a lot going on, a lot to unpack.
2003.
2003, yes. Boy, it's hard to put into words, I guess.
That's been the podcast. Thanks for
Yes,
listening.
thanks for listening. It's got to be one of the more disturbing movies I've seen. I guess on like a psychological level. What do you agree with that?
100%. I don't see many Asian films, let alone South Korean films, but they always seem to get you where you're not really expecting it.
Yeah, the only other South Korean film I think I've seen at all is Parasite. Have you delved much into South Korean cinema?
No, I've seen Parasite as well. Another famous one is Train to Busan that I've heard
Hmm.
great things about. It stars the guy from Parasite. No, no, sorry. It stars the guy from Squid Game, who's
Oh,
in the train station.
uh-huh.
The guy who gets or who slaps the younger man just keeps slapping people
Okay.
while playing that game.
Hmm.
Have you seen Squid Game? I'm sure
No,
you haven't seen Squid Game.
no, I have not.
Okay, well that's
I,
another South Korean, just a brilliant South Korea
I've
from this brilliant South Korean mind where
mhm.
violence. It's all about the violence.
I've heard of it, but I didn't give into the hype.
I recommend giving Squid Game a try. I
Hmm.
also recommend watching it with the subtitles on, not the English dub like I did.
Oh
I
yeah,
think you'll have
that's
a much
always the
better.
wrong decision.
Yeah. So Old Boy was subtitles,
Yes.
which was great. I don't mind reading
Hmm.
words. So yeah, this is a little bit of a different start to the podcast, but that's okay. There was a twist. Do you want to talk about the twist at the end?
Yeah, we can go straight to the end. Now, I gotta say, I saw the twist coming not like way before it happened, but slightly before it happened. Like, were you left in the dark pretty much until it was revealed?
I've heard of this movie for a long time. I didn't really know what it was about. Um, Luckily, I was dark on the twist up until the twist happened. I had no idea. I actually had to be pointed out to me what was happening.
Oh yes.
When he opened that blue present,
Mm-hmm.
purple,
It was like
blue,
purple, I would say.
and flipping through
Mm-hmm.
uh, the photo album, and then he was upset, and I was like, "What's going on?" And then my girlfriend had to be like, "This is what's going on," holding my hand through it. I'm like, "Oh, that makes so much sense."
Yeah. When for me it was when all of a sudden um what's his name? Woo Jin Lee. I guess you could call him the bad guy. He was like laughing, you know? And I'm like, wait, why is he laughing? And then he's like, and he was talking to Daisu. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but you know who I mean.
Yeah, that's what I would. however you pronounce it,
Yeah,
anyways.
Daisu. And he starts laughing, and he's like, "So you haven't figured it out, have you?" And then immediately I was like, "Oh, like oh damn!" And then I figured it out. I was like, "That's like totally messed up, but smart, like
Yep.
smart, like I never saw that coming at all."
I mean, you did just say you did see it coming.
Well, like up until that point. I mean, I only figured it out like 2 minutes before he straight up said it or whatever.
Okay, so for those who are listening and haven't seen the movie, you should stop this and go see it. You're not going to find it on any streaming sites. Luckily, I went to the local thrift shop and found a VHS
Oh,
copy of it and watched
mm-hmm.
it that way, and then destroyed it afterwards because of how disturbing it was. But if you're going to keep listening without seeing the film, again, spoilers. There are three main characters in the movie. I would say. Do you agree
Yeah,
with that?
yeah,
Dai Su, the main guy who the film is focused on. Woo Jin, who is also a man in the movie, the villain, kind of. And then the girl, um,
yeah. I
Maidu,
think it was my dude. Yeah.
who Maidu, they meet, Maidu and Dai Su, oh, that rhymes, meet because she is um, serving him live octopus at a sushi restaurant, and they fall in love eventually. And it turns out that thanks to Woo Jin and hypnosis, um, Maidu and Dai Su are actually daughter and father daughter.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, they don't know that because Dai Su ends up in prison for 15 years. Thanks to eventually we learn it's Woo Jin who does it.
Yeah. All to get
Very
Yes, all
complicated.
to get back at Daisu for a rumor he spread.
Right, about Woo Jin being in love with his sister, which was true. So we have some brother sister love going on, and we have some father daughter love going on.
Yes.
Oldboy, 2003, not the remake with Josh Brolin, which was not very good, I hear, but
Mm-hmm.
I do kind of want to watch it just to see how different
Yeah,
it
to
is.
see what it's like. Yeah.
That one is on Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
I think. I could be wrong, actually, but it's on something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was on
Yeah.
Amazon Prime or something like that.
Okay. Okay. Maybe we should talk about the first half of the movie.
Okay.
First, the I knew I was gonna like this movie. I think after the first scene when they were in the police station and they were it's like jump cutting.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden he was in this hotel room
Yeah.
for 15 years, and then he finds out because there's a TV in there, which I guess is nice. But he finds out that his wife is murdered. And does he also find out that his daughter's dead too?
No, I don't think so. Because when he gets out, like he has this. Remember, he's like given information on where his daughter is. Remember,
Uh,
She's like living
oh, in Sweden.
in Sweden or something, right?
Yes, Stockholm. Right.
Yes.
So when he's in the hotel room, I mean, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Just that idea.
It was definitely interesting. It was kind of reminding me of V for Vendetta. Have you seen that movie?
I have not.
Oh, okay. There's sort of
Natalie Portman.
yeah, there's sort of a similar thing going on in a way, where V, who's like the main guy, he like imprisons Natalie Portman. She doesn't know that it's him, and he does it just to see if she's going to just to give information about his ultimate plan. And yeah, he doesn't hold back. Let's put it that way. It's kind of similar to this situation that Daisu goes through in a way.
Well, that's interesting because
Hmm.
this is actually the second movie of a trilogy
Oh.
by the director Park Chan-wook.
Hmm.
It's a revenge trilogy. Obviously, this is a very big revenge movie.
Yeah.
The first movie is called Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance,
Hmm.
Mr. V for
Oh.
Vendetta,
Oh
V
ho
for
ho.
Vengeance. So I don't. This the third movie is just called Lady Vengeance. So a lot of vengeance. And this one,
Yes.
Old Boy.
Vengeance is definitely a theme, yes. I gotta say, another theme in this movie was loneliness. Especially, like, the three main characters are all lonely in their own way, you know?
Certainly.
Daisu is, like, forced to be lonely. And Midu, like, she grew up without parents. And Wu
Yep.
Jin, I guess he sort of, I assume he had to become sort of a recluse after what happened with his sister.
But a rich recluse.
Yes. And also, I noticed that when there was that flashback scene with Dai Su, and he's like smoking that cigarette, and he sits beside that girl, who I guess was Wu Jin's sister, right?
Oh, this is right. Yes, the flashback.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's reading a book by Sylvia Plath, who's,
Yes.
and I've read The Bell Jar by her, and I think loneliness is a pretty big theme in that book as well.
Interesting. Many
So
layers here.
I figured that must have been on purpose, but who knows?
I think a lot of things were on purpose.
Hmm.
Um, O Dai Su, the main character, was named after Oedipus,
Oh,
who, if I'm not mistaken, falls in love with his mother.
okay.
Well, now I have to look that up.
Yeah, that sounds right. That would make sense. Yeah.
He either falls in love with his mother or he's the one that pushes a rock up the mountain forever. But probably the first one.
Yeah.
And there was something else that was on purpose, but now I can't remember.
Oh, well.
I'm sure it was good.
What did you think about there was a lot of, I would call it, I guess, body horror, or maybe like body effects. Like the moments where like you get zoomed in, like teeth being ripped out of a head,
Oh, yeah.
like things like that, or like his Daisu cutting his own tongue out. Like I thought they were very well executed. Yeah, seemed quite believable.
Certainly, there were
Yes.
some moments, such
Yeah.
as the teeth being pulled, even him cutting off his own tongue, where I had to look away. Like I
Yeah.
couldn't,
I like cringed a little. Like I didn't look away, but I was definitely like, oh Jesus.
yeah, I can't watch somebody pull their teeth out.
Yeah.
That's just a personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and I don't think there was a lot of CGI in this at all. Like most of it was pretty real.
Yeah.
There was a one-shot fight scene
Right.
kind of in the middle
Mm-hmm.
that was tremendous.
Yes, that was really good.
Tremendous for 2003 anyways.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was Daisu, the actor, did all of his own stunts basically. The
Okay.
only thing that was edited in that fight scene was the knife going in his back.
Mm-hmm.
That was CGI, but other than that, everything
Okay.
real.
Yeah, the only CG I could think of was when he was like having hallucinations of like ants
Yeah,
on his
the
skin,
ants.
you know?
I think that
Yeah.
was it. Just the ants and like a knife going into a human being.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well,
Hmm. What did you think of the acting?
I thought the acting was decent. I'm not South Korean, and I've seen very few Asian films.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't really have a lot to compare it with. I thought that
Mm-hmm.
the two Woo Jin and Dai Su were great.
Yeah.
My Do, I don't know. I didn't have like she was a little over the top in a way,
Mm-hmm.
and then like the friend, all the side characters, I wasn't too high on, but the two main ones I quite enjoyed.
Yeah. Woo Jin I thought was the best performance for sure. But yeah, there was a little overtopness, but it's tough to like, especially with like Dai Su. It's like, okay, he's been in prison for 15 years. How is he going to act? Well, I don't know how many like real life people you can turn to that have had that situation, like total solidarity and being treated that way. So you don't really know how they would act. So I thought it was a good representation of what someone might be like after that experience.
Well, like the scene, like when he just comes out on the roof
Yeah,
with the man and that dog,
yeah,
and he just spent a few minutes just touching his face,
hmm,
touching the other guy's face and crying. I'm
yeah,
like, okay, yeah, I totally believe that.
yeah,
I do have a note on um, the man and his dog.
hmm,
So he was actually the first, apparently the first speaking character in the film. Well, the first speaking character, I guess, outside of Dai Su and the friend, the dog. The when he hit the car,
yeah.
totally real dog, totally not a fluffy toy. But apparently, the actor was in the first of the three films
Hmm.
of this revenge trilogy.
Yeah.
He played an anarchist at the very end of the film,
Oh, okay.
but he'll always be known as the man who kills himself with his dog. So
Right.
sad. But that scene was also amazing. The first half of the film I thought was very strong. Um, the last half of the film I thought was very strong.
Yeah.
The middle half of the film was very strong. I liked the movie. It's a good movie.
It was good. It was definitely good. A little hard to watch at some points, but like not in a didn't put me off or anything like that. It was just like it was um powerful, I guess, in a way that was a little disturbing. That makes sense.
Those were real octopi he ate.
Yeah, definitely.
Just just gave it all he could. Just stuffed them aggressively into his mouth and just
Yeah.
that is a South Korean delicacy, octopi. But normally you kill them before you eat them.
Hmm. I've seen videos though before of like people eating them live.
Why?
Sorry?
Why?
Why did I see the videos or why did they eat them live?
Why did you see the videos?
I don't know. I just one of those things. Like you just
Oh, just go down a rabbit hole and
yeah.
all of a sudden you're, looking at live octopus in somebody else's. Okay, wait, octopuses in somebody
Octop
else's, mouth.
yes.
Okay.
Yes. Anyway, I was going to say there was a lot of really cool shots in this movie, like you were saying, the fight scene in the hall, and I also liked the whole where he's like trying to find the dumplings that he was eating,
Mm-hmm.
and there was like a cool shot like with the camera in his hand, like hold with the chopsticks holding the dumpling. Like there was this one really cool shot that I liked, and I'm trying to think of other specific ones, but there was just a lot of cool shots in this movie
Very
that
well
were like,
done.
yeah, sometimes they just came like it came out of nowhere, but it really worked. It was neat.
It was like comic booky kind of in some ways. Just
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I don't know if that was on purpose, but well,
Hmm.
it is based off of a Japanese manga
Right.
loosely,
Yeah, I knew
which
that.
it will affect my originality score.
Right.
So I don't know what loosely means. I'll have to look that up.
Hmm.
Okay, well, I mean, that's pretty much all of my notes on this movie.
Yeah.
Um, a lot. It was a 2 hour running time.
Was. Didn't feel
So
like
like,
2 hours to me though.
no, I mean, I had just watched Dune, 2.5 hour movie that
Yeah.
didn't feel like a 2.5 hour movie.
Hmm.
This didn't exactly feel like a 2 hour movie. The ending maybe dragged on a little bit, maybe. There's a lot of explanation, which it needed. I definitely appreciated it, but it just made it longer than maybe it should have. I don't know. I'm no movie maker.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to get to the scores then? If you don't have
Yeah.
any other
Let's
notes on the film?
yeah. Let's do it.
Okay, originality. Uh,
Well, I would say I know that it was based off a manga. That's true. But I mean, if I were to ignore that fact and just take the general idea that it was running with, I mean, I haven't seen anything like that before. It seemed pretty original to me. Uh, a lot of loops and twists and turns and things I was not expecting at all. So I'm gonna put that whole manga thing aside, and I'm gonna be at an 8.
Only an 8, huh? Okay. I am not going to put the manga thing aside.
Okay.
I'm going to take away a shade of a point for that.
Okay.
Um, and I gave it a 9
Oh, okay.
because I agree with everything that you said. I've never seen a movie like that before. Apparently,
Hmm.
I dipped my toes into a little bit more South Korean cinema than you have.
Yeah.
Um, but good on Woo Jin for being that patient for 15 years.
Yeah.
Originality, a 9. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay.
Ending, we've kind of talked about the ending.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go ahead and just throw my score out there. I also gave it a 9, which this includes the twist.
Okay.
I would, well, that's maybe being nice. The ending maybe shouldn't include um, the climax of the film. Um, maybe just, oh, that wind's really going. It should really just include the the last scene, but this is our
Like in the
podcast.
snow, in
Yeah,
the snow, you mean? Yeah,
we can
yeah.
make up our rules. So I'm gonna say a 9. Even, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even that scene, like that was a great way to end it.
Yeah.
It left so many questions,
Yep.
but he crawled around like a dog.
You
Oh,
sure did.
okay. And the fact that there was no winners at the end of the film,
Right.
Woo Jin, he had that flashback scene of him dropping his sister into the water and then shooting himself in the head,
Yep.
and then Daisu crawling around like a dog, and then the snow scene with the hypnotist. He's trying to erase all of the memories.
Mm-hmm.
Great, wonderful. 9.
Yeah, I like the ending also, especially like when he Daisu Hung hugs Maidu, and like he's got that creepy smile that he has, every once in a while throughout the film, and it's like just shows the insanity. Yeah, I don't know, like the whole ending was, I thought it was good. It was a good, creepy but good way to end the film. I'd be almost tempted. I'll give it a 9.5.
Were you tempted to give it a 10?
I was, yep.
I mean, what makes a perfect ending?
It's yeah, it's honestly it's tough to say.
Our numbers are so arbitrary. Who are we? Who are we to judge?
Who are we to say?
Okay, so expectation. I'll let you start because you apparently,
Hmm.
I mean, you don't know anything about South Korea, so
I don't know anything. Yeah. Um. Well, I just had zero expectations basically. None. I didn't have any good expectations or bad expectations. I just didn't really know what it was going to be. And like even if you when I looked up Old Boy just to see like if it was going to be on any platform, you get like the quick synopsis, and it was like categorized as like a thriller mystery movie. And I mean, I guess it is that, but it's so much more than that. So it kind of delivered more than I was expecting. I think I'd be up at like an 8 or a 9. Let me go for a 9.
wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's fair. I said this before, but I had heard of Old Boy before
Mm-hmm.
this podcast, obviously because I was the one that picked the movie. Um, but I had heard that it was a really good film, that
Okay.
it was on people's best films of the 2000s list, like that included North American movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the best films to ever come out of South Korea. Um,
Yeah.
and I think for the most part that it matched those expectations. So I gave it an 8.
Okay. Cool.
Um, I could have probably given it a higher score, but 8 sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
We have already talked about acting.
Yeah.
I give it a 7.5. Um, and I'll just say the two main characters, Daisu and Woo Jin, were very good. The others, not so much for me, anyways. So 7.5.
Mhm. Yeah, I thought Woo Jin was definitely the best performance, like the best performance, and like one of the best performances I've seen in a while. I thought it was very good. Um, My do actually, I liked her performance as well, and I guess Dai Su was probably the one I didn't like as much, although it was very good. I didn't have a ton of problems with it. Uh, it was mostly fantastic. Like I guess maybe there were some moments I thought, I guess in the beginning, I was more just like the first scene where he's like really drunk.
Hmm.
Like it just made me not like him very much. He just like seemed really obnoxious. But I guess that was kind of the point. So maybe I'm being a little unfair. But overall, I thought the acting was pretty amazing. So I'll be a higher score than you. I'm going to be also at a 9.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
The first scene, well, when him and his friend were in that phone booth
Yeah.
with, and Daisu had a present for his daughter. You
Yeah.
haven't seen it, but in Squid Game, that is that's basically a scene in Squid Game. Like he's calling his daughter in a phone booth. He has a present for his daughter. He
Oh.
then disappears to go Squid Gaming.
Oh. So is that like a known, like that's purposefully done?
I'm not sure. I just saw that in the movie. I'm like, this seems familiar.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it was kind of a hat tip to Old Boy.
Yeah, it might have been. Might have been. That sounds like it was.
My final score for Old Boy, which is so far the highest rated film of the year for me,
Mm,
2022, which means it's also the highest of the 10 films that we've seen. I rated it higher than Dune that I just watched.
mm,
8.5 out of 10. Um,
nice.
it's a movie that will stay with me for a long time,
Yeah.
but it's certainly one that would be difficult to rewatch.
Right.
We're in that paradox. I can't
Yeah.
tell you what happened in Code 8, but I'll be able to tell you what happened in Old Boy for months to come.
Yeah, that's funny. I was looking back at some of our old episodes, and Code 8 was one I went to. I'm like, what in the world happened in that movie?
They were superheroes.
Yeah, like I had a general idea, but I wouldn't be able to tell you like a ton. It just didn't stick with me. But this, yeah, for sure is gonna stick with me. And yeah, it would be tough to watch again because you would kind of know all. But that is a thing. Like you can go back and watch a movie having knowing what does happen, and maybe you get to see it in a different way. You don't have to spend so much time like focusing on what's like the plot points, because that was kind of like what ruined my experience a little with Primer was I was spending so much effort like trying to understand the plot, and then maybe I missed some nuances of the acting or the scenes or like the scenery or whatever. But this one, like, there wasn't too much information being thrown at me that I feel like I missed any sort of nuances. There was like the flashback. I was trying to understand what Wu Jin had done. Like I saw that he was obviously wanting to have sex with this girl, but I didn't understand who it was. But then I clued in pretty quick. I was like, oh, okay, that's his sister. And then the same thing with the twist ending. Although I did figure it out like a little before it was actually laid out for us. Um. Anyway, that was just sort of a ramble. Um. Yeah, I'm gonna give this a pretty high score as well. I'm gonna be at a 9 out of 10. There wasn't much I did not like about this movie.
Well, you're welcome for choosing it.
Yes, thank
This
you.
is the second straight movie with nudity.
Yes, that's true.
However, it wasn't a good nudity. Um,
No,
Certainly not.
no. Especially in hindsight, it was not definitely not.
Have you seen Fahrenheit
Mm.
9/11, the movie that
Yeah, I think
back
I've seen some
back
of
in
it, but not all of it.
2003?
Some of it,
Well,
but not
apparently
all of
that
it.
movie was better than this one. I was
Well, I mean, it's probably subject matter like.
Yeah, timely, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at the other films that were up for um the the Palme d'Or, the best movie at the film festival.
Mm-hmm.
Oldboy beat out Shrek the second, the second Shrek movie. Wait, I guess they just call it Shrek 2.
They just call it Shrek 2.
It beat out Shrek 2.
That is the best Shrek movie. Although it's weird comparing Shrek to Old Boy.
Well, it went to the Cannes Film Festival and almost won.
I mean, Shrek 2 is the best one. It is a good movie.
That's debatable. Okay, so that was Old Boy. Yeah, amazing. The 10th episode happens to be the best movie, I would say. Would you agree?
Yes, I do agree.
Okay, wonderful. Well, on that note, it is the 10th movie, which means that you've had five movies and I've had five movies.
Mm,
I think at some point after this episode comes out, I'm going to put a poll up on Instagram
yeah.
and just see which which of our five movie choices the public likes better, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, we have Primer, Green Lantern, Charlie's Angels, The Haunting,
Mm-hmm.
and Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't say Francis Ford Coppola, but I can say these Daisu and Wu Jin.
Yep.
And I have The One, starring Jet Li,
Mm.
Code 8, Con Air, Dr. Otto and the Riddle of the Gloom Beam,
Yeah.
and Old Boy. So
Right.
I think as we've matured as a podcast, our movies have gotten better.
Yes. I was going. I was going to say. At first, it was like it was almost fun to pick movies that we knew weren't going to be great. But now we've like sort of like been like, oh, let's pick good movies.
Well, it's some of these movies we have no idea, like Old
That's
Boy.
true.
Old Boy,
That's
we
true.
really didn't know. Dracula, you had a sense that is like there was going to be something to talk about, whether it was good or bad. We didn't
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, it's good to take risks. I'm gonna keep doing that, I think, with movies I choose. Um, a
That,
mix of
that,
things I know and things I don't know.
yep. Yep. Yeah. My next movie is. I have no idea if it's good or bad. I know of its existence. That's about it.
So it's not an earnest movie.
It's not an earnest movie.
I think your list and my list are very even. Um, we have a lot of bad stuff on there, but yet,
Mm-hmm.
some good ones.
Yeah.
For every Code 8, there's a Haunting. For every Con Air, there's a Charlie's Angels.
Now, I gotta say, I don't remember the score I gave The Haunting compared to Code 8. But I feel like I probably gave a higher score to Code 8. But in hindsight, now that I'm thinking about it now, I think I like The Haunting better.
You'll have to go back and listen.
I guess so. The Haunting wasn't that bad, was it?
No.
I
Uh,
just can't fit. There's like parts of that movie that, I mean, like, we were talking about Code 8 not really, like, sticking with us. But The Haunting is sticking with me, especially that house. I can't stop thinking about that. That set was like one of the most amazing sets I've ever seen.
it's a lovely house. I
Mm-hmm.
know for a fact, without going back and listening, that I gave Code 8 a much higher score than The Haunting.
Right.
I believe The Haunting was actually Green Lantern might have been the worst of the movies. With
Green Lantern.
Yeah, score wise, uh,
Oh, for your score. Okay.
with The Haunting coming in a close second.
Mm.
Um, but I could be wrong. I probably should be writing these down.
Yeah, maybe.
I've been giving my movies higher scores than your movies. I don't know if that's just a bias on my part.
It could be, but I was pretty harsh on The Haunting, and that was my movie. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm starting to love it more and more.
Sometimes you just gotta like a movie and then just be generous to it. Like Oldboy, I think we were very, not that we were generous, but it was just nice to give high scores because we felt like it
It
deserved it.
was. It was a little refreshing, like just watching like a truly good movie. I mean, I got to say, Con Air was also quite a good movie, but a much different way.
Nothing makes me happier than getting you to watch a movie that you genuinely enjoy.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if we genuinely enjoy my next film.
Uh,
I think it's supposed to. I think it's supposed to be good.
do you have like
But
a hint?
hmm. Yes. A hint would be vampires.
Oh, we're going back to the vampire. Well,
We are. We are. I'm not done with vampires yet.
interesting decision. Which character does William Dafoe play?
Willem Dafoe?
What did I say?
You said William Dafoe.
That's his name, William Dafoe.
I mean, you can call him that if you want, but that's not his
Is
name.
that how you spell it?
No, it's Willem. Willem.
Okay. Well,
Shows what you know.
Mr. Defoe, is he in this one?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh,
I don't think so. I'm not going to that one that I thought I was thinking of when we watched Bram Stoker's Dracula. I'm going to one that's going to be a different tone to it. I think it's more actiony, if I were to guess.
it is Willem. Wilem.
Yep.
Oh, he was born in Appleton, Wisconsin.
Oh, Appleton. I've been there.
Yeah, I bet. Okay, so an actiony vampire movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you know the decade it was made in?
I don't know for certain, but if I were to guess, I would say the 90s.
Okay, good to know.
Yes, and there's more than one. It spawned a sequel, maybe more than one. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's from the 90s.
Well, I know that I can't wait to watch whatever vampire movie you got cooking this time.
I'm looking it up right now. I know like the main character. I know who he is, but I there's only one other person that I know of that's in this movie. Then a lot of people I do not recognize.
You're really going back to back vampires, huh?
I sure am. I I'm entranced. I have to do it.
Okay,
I
well,
always wanted to watch this movie, so
fair enough. I probably won't go back to back South Korean movies,
okay.
but now, I mean, Train to Busan would be a good one because that's zombies, I believe.
Hmm.
South Korean zombie movie, but maybe down the road,
You remember that Chinese movie we watched called Biozombie?
vaguely.
And they were like all stuck in a mall, and one of them had like a Game Boy camera.
Yes, either I remember it or I'm getting it mixed up with something else. But no, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
That was
in a
good. That was
mall.
a good
Yep.
movie. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That
Sure,
was a
sure,
good
sure.
movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
Okay. Well, Old Boy. The 10th movie we've watched, the best movie we've watched.
hmm
Any final thoughts or ideas or words?
oh, I don't think so. Shout outs Greg, Janet. Thank you for being a loyal listener.
She does not listen to this.
Okay, forget that then. I think that's it.
All right. Well, thank you to our, you know, to the people out there, the 19 or so who continuously download and listen to this on wherever you listen to your podcasts.
All 19 of you. We
We
appreciate it.
we appreciate it.
hmm
All right. Well, toodaloo.
Toodles.